over.
Here we are. We is
Hi,
live.
we're live.
We're live. Here we are.
Bonjour, bonsoir, good morning,
Buongiorno.
whoever, wherever you are.
Buongiorno,
Today,
buongiorno.
Jack and Papu and friends talk shit about
Correct.
video games and stuff. Oh no, I cursed the first sentence. Damn it.
It's okay, bro. It's the
Whatever.
usual. It's not gonna. It's always
It's
gonna fucking
okay. It's
happen.
the
It's
usual
always gonna
one.
happen, man. There's just no
So
avoiding it
such
anymore.
foul mouth. This is a freaking disgrace, and I apologize, mother.
Putain, bordel de merde,
Not
quoi.
that she's watching. She doesn't even know this exists.
Mother, I have failed you. I apologize. But yeah.
I'm just lowering the standards so my sister can be a success.
Wow, dude. Nice, nice, nice.
That's how good a brother I am.
Yeah, you're
Um,
amazing. I wish my sister would do the same as you do. I wouldn't feel like such a fucking failure.
That's either a compliment or a jab on itself, actually.
Absolutely.
Well, older brothers always know best, right, Lolo?
Hmm.
You guys don't know what it's like to be a
Sometimes.
younger sibling. You guys don't understand.
Of course, we don't.
No, you don't. But anyway,
No.
Anyway,
welcome to another stream with me, the Jack Reinhardt, and Papu91 and Dagon Keldrum. Today we are just discussing video games, talking shit, and not playing games, just tacking for tacking. And yeah, I believe Papu91 has some sort of how would you call it? Some sort of
an inquiry.
yes, let's go
Yeah,
with that. Yes.
I do have an inquiry.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask you guys about a game that I don't play.
Mm.
And that game is Monster Hunter something something. What's the Switch title
Rise.
just got released? Rise, Monster Hunter Rise. I played Monster Hunter World a little bit, gave it 2 chances,
I
maybe
mean,
deserved a third.
you didn't
It
really
didn't stick.
play it. You didn't really play it, in all fairness.
I did more. How do you play games? You're like, I give it an hour or two. If I don't like it, in the trash, right?
True,
I
true.
gave it at least like 4 or 5 hours on separate occasions. But anyway, that game is so deep that 4 or 5 hours is a fucking joke. However, the new release, Monster Hunter Rise, goes a little bit more back to what Monster Hunter used to be in the way that it plays and menus and all of that stuff. I can't know for sure because I only played World, which is the dumbed down version for filthy casuals such as myself. And still, I found it very difficult. But I remember that so Lolo, you got to go first, and then Jack went second. And when we were doing this together on Discord, I remember that you were having trouble in the beginning to enjoy the game because you logged into a mission, but turns out that you logged into a multiplayer thing that you weren't supposed to get because you followed the wrong tip or advice, or you went to the wrong place to get such mission, because it's very difficult to understand how the game is structured and organized when you actually want to play the game, where to go,
I
right?
mean,
And in Monster Hunter World, we had the same issue too.
yeah, sure.
I
sure.
just want to do the main quest. I want to do a side mission. I just want to go explore. I want to go explore with my friend, as opposed to having just a pressing pause, multiplayer menu, lobby, invite people in and out, the classic schmuck thing that we do. Instead, you have to go to a specific designed area of the map and then go talk to a certain character if you want to do the story missions, if you want to explore at something else, if you want to do multiplayer, you go somewhere else. Eventually, you turn it around, and you guys were going full on a bender for what, 7, 10 days? That you went on a Monster Hunter bender?
I
Just
mean,
about
for me, it was
It
about
was
about a week. Yeah, about a week.
about a
full
week where you're
where it
playing a
was
lot.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
in the
all
end, you
about
really
the
enjoyed
Monster
it.
Hunter life.
And you were telling me, dude, you have to give Hunter World another chance. Come on, man. It's
Well,
so
yeah,
good. We're
absolutely.
busy with other games at the moment, but is the game, question number one for both of you, and be
Yeah,
honest, it's not.
things already
Huh?
from what you. There's a lot of things already from what you just said, but let's start with your question then.
Yeah, my question is simple. Don't take it with a negative tone because it's totally not. Take it for what it is,
Mhm.
okay?
Mhm.
Do you find the game repetitive?
Lawrence, you go first.
It is repetitive. Um,
Uh,
I'm gonna start with like a general pãozinho sem sal sort of generalization. Uh, every game is repetitive. The key to it is to find how to make that repetitiveness enjoyable or varied enough that it doesn't feel like it's going to bore you very fast. But in the case of Monster Hunter,
or addictive?
it's just that simple wheel. Kill monster to get materials to craft items, get better items in gear to kill monsters to get materials to craft gear, get gear to kill better monsters, kill monsters to get better gear, get gear.
Yep,
Da, 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 da.
pretty much.
And since what 15 years or more now that the Monster Hunter franchise, like mid
I
or
think
early
so.
2000s, the
Sounds
first
about
Monster
right.
Hunter was the PlayStation 2 or something like that. It's like a and it's not a recipe that I think it's the cup of tea for everyone. Although I will say that nowadays you have a lot of games that have those elements, but not necessarily have that as a core gameplay loop. Warframe is an example that I would give. It's similar, like, and a lot of dungeon crawlers have also that game loop. Um, and then I think sometimes these game loops do better on certain platforms than others. For example, Monster Hunter never managed to gain the spotlight in home consoles, but as soon as it moved to handheld consoles, like for example for Nintendo DS, Monster Hunter became super big. And with Monster Hunter World, it was the first time when the Monster Hunter franchise managed to really uh, get to play in the same playground as the other big boys. Like Monster Hunter World sold a lot compared to the other entries, right? It's probably the
Yeah.
best sold
Definitely.
game out of all
Also,
the
it was the
entries
one
in that
released on most
franchise.
platforms, I think. Because it released on Xbox and PC and PS4, and that's it, right?
Yeah,
And
Three.
so
yeah.
I'm gonna use
The
this
big
as a
three.
way to parenthesis a little bit to reiterate some of the stuff you mentioned
Hmm.
before your question. Like Monster Hunter World, I've never played it, but from what I understand, it did streamline a lot of the mechanics by sacrificing some other stuff. Apparently, like there's a lot of monster variety that was lacking in Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
Monster what? Sorry.
World
No, no, but Monster Variety. You said.
variety, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm. Uh, but like unfortunately so many games of this genre, the issue seems to be like the way to get into the game, right? I don't
Hmm.
know how it was for Monster Hunter World, but for Monster Hunter Rise they tried to do with a lot of tutorial windows, but it's not really a very fun way to get into the game. So right from the get-go all the information is there, but it feels like you need to do like a theory course before you actually get to play. And so it's very easy to just press A, just let me go where I want to go.
And
And
trap.
just,
What am I supposed to do
just,
now?
yeah,
Yeah. You didn't read the thing. You didn't read the thing. Yeah, the thing which was
yeah.
like
Just for
just
comparison, I never
pages.
had the same experience as Jack, but I will say that what Jack did in 3 days is what I did in 3 weeks. So because I didn't play multiplayer first, I played solo first. I took my time, like a long time, to just learn every piece of mechanic until I felt comfortable enough to jump into the fray, so to speak.
Right.
So the I will say the initial contact is still a problem in the franchise. Like it's not
That was
well
a good way to put it.
incorporated enough.
The initial contact. Yeah. Getting in the pool because the water's cold, right? But if you just jump, you drown. You gotta go slow. It's like going in the pool after you ate or something. Jack, you go. Did you find the game repetitive for you? Yes, no,
I
what,
mean, look,
how?
I played I played Tree Ultimate and I played World before this. So I jump into it already knowing what's coming. And I mean, is it repetitive? Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's a grinding game. It's a game where you kill monsters. It's a game where you hunt. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's as repetitive like Lauren said. All these games they have some sort of repetition to it. They have a cycle, they have a loop. You know, and personally for me, the loop in this one is very enjoyable because I enjoy the premise of going on hunts. That's nice. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like every time I start a new different iteration of the game, whichever one it may be, it always feels hard to get into it independently that I've played it before or not. It's still the same mechanics to some degree, but there's always new additions, there's always things that have been taken away, and you always have to kind of like, you know, retrace your steps. And also, like Lauren said, it's not that kind of thing that's necessarily very intuitive, and obviously you kind of need to read your way through a lot of things to be comfortable with what you're doing. And for me, as a very fast-paced player and a, you know, not really patient with all the guidelines and shit, I'm that kind of person who will probably skip the tutorial, you know, and just jump into it. So for me, it's not really very fun to start the game. It always takes me a few hours to start. And you know, like when I started Rise, or like I think you mentioned that, I had the issue where I just jumped onto a mission that I shouldn't have jumped on, and you know, I was with the basic gear, I didn't have shit, and I was just trying to kill a monster on my own without anybody else on a multiplayer mission, but on my own, and it was just
Not
frustrating.
knowing that you were in
Yeah,
that thing.
yeah, not knowing, but I mean, again, obviously, if I had read and paid attention, if I had spent an hour or two reading and seeing where I was going, I would have known where I was going. But I didn't, and unfortunately, I ended up in a place where I shouldn't have been. But it's the same. It boils down to, um, do you like the repetition in this game or do you not? I mean, that's really what it is about. And like it was mentioned, I played, I think in 3 days, I clocked in about almost 60 hours. So I played constantly for almost 3 days. Yeah. Yeah. I clocked in a lot of time.
Fucking what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's been a while since that's happened to me with the game, but it's like I say, it's
Wait,
not that I
did
love
you say
this.
60 hours
Yes, that's what I said, bro. Absolutely.
in
When you
three
get
days?
hooked, you
Yeah.
really get hooked. In that
You
sense, it's
slept
still a well-oiled
2
machine.
hours and okay, let's like make an estimate, but even
Alfonso,
then,
I
it's
said almost 60 hours. Probably it was between 50 and 60.
50
okay.
something, yeah,
50, who cares? It's still too much.
I
I mean, it's
know.
not too much. Thing is, you know what's funny? Because I think if you would be playing like World of Warcraft or something,
maybe so.
it would be a bit different because mentally you're alive in that world, you know, and socializing and doing all those things. I feel like these types of games is a bit different because you dive into that world and then you don't get out of it.
Mm,
Um, in that sense, I think that the comparison is fairer to big RPGs like Skyrim or you know The Witcher. Some people can also get lost in it, but it's not a world that's shared with millions of other people, right? That you can actually live in parallel to real life, almost pretty much. Um,
You can always
But
invite people to your hub and to your quests
yeah,
with
sure. But you
four
understand
players
what I mean,
maximum. Yeah.
right?
Sure, it's not an
You get what
MMO,
I
if
mean.
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not an MMO, so not like or like even those games like Second Life and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah, very
Anyway,
different
that's a
categories. Yeah, yeah.
simulation MMO. Yeah, absolutely. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. Um, those ones are a bit okay, but even still, 50 hours. So yeah, I was making fun of you guys. I was calling you crackheads and stuff because you were just it's the only thing you were doing for the first weekend. During that weekend, you did nothing but play Monster Hunter, and so it's not just the repetitive. Like the repetitiveness is good and fun.
Mhm.
Did you do it too much? Did you lose the itch to play?
well,
I'm gonna ask first the gentleman down here, and
okay,
that's
me. Um,
Jack, because you are
well,
not playing it right now.
no, I'm not.
So
No. The thing is, I think for me personally, Monster Hunter, it's the way I describe it is, I play it a lot, but I don't love the game. I'm obsessed with it. It's really like it boils down to that addictive side of things. It's like I'll
interesting.
spend a lot of time on it, but it's not because I'm so in love with the game and the lore and shit, because really I'm not. But it's just something so satisfying about going on that hunt, capturing that monster, getting the fucking gear, and then in your head you're already looking towards the kind of gear you want to build up for end game, and you're like, okay, I need this shit and that shit and that. Maybe I gotta go hunt a Magnamalo. Maybe I gotta go hunt a fucking Xenogre. Maybe I gotta go do this. Maybe I gotta go do that. What if I try to do this with the electricity instead of trying to do something that's just blunt damage? It doesn't matter. There's so many fucking ways to go about it. And whilst usually that is something I hate in games, I hate when there's too much to do, as in like customization wise and upgrading and status infliction and shit like that. I'm not a very big fan of that. But in Monster Hunter, it works. It just fucking works. It's so easy to do compared to other games. And the thing is, whilst the game is hard to get into, once you kind of understand and you
Once you
boil down
find
all
your
the
footing,
blocks,
yeah.
once you get your footing into it, you got the building blocks of what you want to do. And I know it's the same for other games, but the game itself is very simple in terms of like what you need to do to forge, upgrade weapons, forge armor,
Yeah.
upgrade armor, and
Yeah.
it's very well defined. And that way, like the menus that are not the in-game menus, the actual menus from the preparation of missions are so good. They're so well like elaborated, and that's
I can
what
agree with
kept
that.
me
When
like
you know where to
hooked.
go,
Of course,
right?
but you learn it quite fast, honestly. Like I said, it's not. I agree that the in-game mechanics, as in the fighting and the going around and the movement and all the item uses and the shortcuts. I mean, I still don't make usage of the shortcuts in game. That's how little I'm invested in knowing that side of it. But all the other things, once you get past that blockade, dude, you're fucking, you're swimming, you're sliding, you're fucking great.
So
Yeah.
to keep
Like
you
so
in the
many games you
gameplay
have.
loop, sorry, just real quick. To
Yeah.
keep you in the gameplay loop, there's two things that can be done, which is the game is so much fun, right? And you love it so much that you kind of forget that you're in it, right? But in this case,
Absolutely.
there is, for you at least, a little bit of an addictive property to it,
Hmm.
right? Like it's just you want to keep in the grind because it's just so satisfying and you want more and more and more. Is it super fun? Do you love it? Yeah, it's fun, but not in a way that it's like that much exciting. You just know you want more, right?
Yeah,
You don't even
absolutely.
have to just more. So I want to ask this gentleman who actually downloaded the update because updates are a good way to break the boredom that some people find when they're, getting when the gameplay loop has the excitement has worn out, right? I'm actually surprised that they updated the game so soon. That's pretty cool of them, actually,
Mm.
that they added new content so soon.
Mm.
So, Lolo, did you feel the same thing as this gentleman when you're playing it? Do you do? I mean, do you do it
Uh,
because it's a lot of fun and you love it, or you also feel a little bit that addictive property? Of course you both love it, but you
somewhat
understand this.
differently. Um, because adding
Okay.
to what Jack said, I think the way, like a specific example, the way Jack does it or did to find his footing, like he went for something he is familiar with the rest of the franchise, and that is the hammer build that he loves so much. He was like, ah, yes, I remember the hammer. I like the hammer, so I'm gonna uh, focus my priority into a hammer build, and from there I will see what else there is around. So I want to be better with the hammer, and then because the game keeps throwing you new gimmicks and new mechanics, like you will then realize that some portions of your gear will add different traits or passive abilities to what you can do, and then you have all the items. The Palamute adds a lot of traversal, for example. You can use the Palamute to go around while you're sharpening
What's
your
the Palamute?
weapon.
It's the dog.
I am
Right.
ignorant.
The Palamute is a play on words with what is the not the husky but the other one?
Oh, the
Malamute.
Malamute.
Malamute. Yeah, it's a play on
The
words on
big
that.
ass
Yeah.
dogs. Okay.
So it's your dog companion. Like
Okay.
classically, you have always had this cat companion who would work as a support character or assist character or gatherer, has like these different roles as a companion, and the
Mhm.
Palamute works like a side fighter, but also like as a traversal mechanic, and really changes the dynamic of the game. When you're playing multiplayer, you just can choose one. You cannot bring both of
Mhm.
those. But for me, the enjoyment was different because last time I played Monster Hunter was 2012, 2012. So it's been a while. And even with Monster Hunter World, I was like, Monster Hunter needs something like significantly different for me to be even wanting to go back to the series. And in here, like the fluidity of traversal and movement, like the combos, a lot of them are still the same, but because of the wire bug mechanic, both the traversal and the fighting changes significantly. It's a lot more fluid and dynamic, I find. And the game is not very deep at all when it comes to story or lore or world building. Like it's a solid
I want to ask
6
you
out of
about that.
10. It's fine.
Actually,
Yeah.
do you
But I
feel
just
that the
really like the
game
environment and the
gives
setting.
you again? Sorry.
I just personally speaking, I really love the environment and the setting, like this
Right.
Bronze era type of Japan. Like when you say, like when you have like fictional worlds like Lord of the Rings, and you have all these different eras. The mythic era is like that thing in the far past that
Mm-hmm.
seems always like very intriguing. And Monster Hunter Rise, it makes me feel like I'm in the mythic era. I'm like living
For Japan, because the Bronze
in
Age.
a reality equal to folkloric or mythology
Right.
times, like slaying these big mythical monsters, like Gilgamesh. I don't know if, or
Yeah, I
yeah,
know what Gilgamesh is.
Sure.
or Greek mythology type, or right?
Mythological
Um,
times
yeah,
with
mythological time,
mythological
like,
creatures.
and I really love that about it. Interestingly enough, like even small details, like the soundtrack of it, the soundtrack, I find it that they gave like a very respectable effort to it, because some of the soundtracks are, especially the fight soundtracks in the arena and in the shrine map, are very good in my perspective. So I think we both enjoyed the game a lot, but maybe somewhat in different degrees, or because of different components. Like this game is a game that, even though I personally, like even after today's update where I killed the last boss, like I can put it comfortably on a shelf, but I will definitely come back to the game, like just to play 1 hour or two, like in a month or 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever. Like it's definitely a game I'm gonna go back to just to scratch that itch to be a ninja in mythical times, slaying mythical creatures.
So it offers you a really nice world
Demon
to
Slayer
be
and
in,
Attack on Titan.
right?
Sorry, that's the last elevator pitch I do.
Demon Slayer Attack on Titan, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is
Okay.
how I sell the game. It's Demon
How
Slayer, Attack on
you spell the
Titan,
game? Demon
two
Slayer. Okay.
animes. Oof.
I mean,
I
The
mm,
Rampage, right?
mm, I guess.
uh
Do you understand what I mean?
I understand what you mean,
yeah,
but I
the
wouldn't.
small Titans, sure, but okay.
Okay,
Okay.
fair enough.
At least I understand the side of the big tale about it. But it's
Hmm.
funny because you mentioned there's no story, right? It's a nice world to exist and to
There is
be in.
There
story,
is
but
no
it's just very
story.
surface level.
Yeah, but it's when I'm saying there's no story, you're both saying it's not compelling, is that's not the fun part of the game, right?
It's just okay.
So
It's not terrible.
Story.
It's just there. But yeah, yeah,
okay.
it's not compelling,
So
but it's
what is the what's really satisfying when you're playing games is to achieve certain goals, right?
Mm,
Old
mm,
school arcade stuff, the goal
mm,
is new record,
yeah,
sure.
new personal record, faster lap,
mm,
right?
mm,
Mm-hmm.
How speed runs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, games get more complicated, and now we have from games where you don't have a solid narrative that are linear, right? This game is
yeah,
not that linear. Um,
yeah. Take it
do
with
you feel like
games
there's a
like Mario, for
long-term goal?
example. The the,
Come
the, the
again?
story the story in Super Mario, it's not very compelling, but it's serviceable for what it did we lost.
I feel like we lost
Um,
him.
Oh, you lost my
Papu.
camera.
Yeah, we lost your camera, bro.
Uh-oh.
What
That's
happened?
okay. We can keep going. I
Mm.
don't know. It just says camera unavailable. But yeah, it happened earlier. That's why I had to reset Discord. But it's fine. We can keep going with just, you know,
Okay,
my voice.
but yeah,
Um,
continue.
so I would like to ask you, do you feel like this game gives you any long-term goals? Does it give you any medium-term goals? For sure, it gives
Mm,
you a short-term goal, which is kill the next monster, right?
at
But when
this
you're
point,
playing, do
right
you have a
now,
feeling of making a plan of like, this is what I want to achieve in the next few hours and stuff like that, or
Sure. Yeah, you
in the
do get a lot
beginning,
of.
yes,
You get.
yeah,
I feel like you get a lot of
and
short-term
throughout the game,
goals,
yeah,
and
also, yeah.
it's really personally for me the only long-term goal you have is to finish the basic hunter ranks up until level 8. So finishing the story. That's the only long-term established goal you have, right? But then the only way
Right,
to make it actually work and to
the
make you
rank,
enjoy it is to basically create yourself short-term ranks and short-term goals. And mostly,
yeah,
for me personally, what it boils down to is building goals around wanting to create better armor and gear. That's really what it boils down to. Every time I was fighting, every time I was hunting, really my goal was always set according to something I wanted to forge or upgrade. That's really where
mm,
all my goals were edified. Always. It was always about that. And apart from that, like I said, the only long term goal I had from the beginning until I stopped playing was to finish the ranking like system. Of course, that then you can go beyond the ranking system that's established within the campaign and go forth until you reach level 999 in the hunter rank. But really, all you got to do is reach rank 8 to finish the campaign. And I feel that that's really the only long-term goal you have. Apart from that, if you want more than that, if you need more substance, I don't think the game is really going to be for you, because it's literally a game about having a good time and making those short-term goals to just keep moving forward and forward. And as the same way that as you upgrade your armor, you upgrade your gear, and you upgrade your rank after you finish the story, the monsters also get harder. So you still feel you never feel like you're a god in that game. You always feel like you're still running towards more. And that's what it does very well as well. Like I never felt like, independently of how far I was getting along, I never felt like I was beyond, you know, that level where there's no challenge anymore. Like every hunt is a challenge. It's not like games like Saints Row 4 where, when you get the superpowers, you become God and then there's nothing else to fucking do because you're so fucking OP'd. That or what's games like Prototype and shit like that. I don't like godlike games where you get insanely great super fast and then the challenge is like, well, I'm just gonna go
Prototype
around.
was
Interesting.
rather boring as well, especially the second one. Hold on a moment. Let me try something.
Sure, do what you gotta do. And it's gone. We're back. We're back.
Maybe.
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go.
We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. By the way, hey Fasai, I saw your comment. I know. But yeah,
Okay,
you back?
I'm back. I don't see Lolo's face though, which makes me very sad
Oh?
because it is very beautiful in general and makes my life very exciting.
It makes it
There, I said
exciting.
it.
Love it.
There, I said it. I said it.
I said it. I don't
Um,
regret it. We're good.
I don't regret it. I said it. Yeah. So, final question:
Mm-hmm.
do you guys think you're going to go back to the game soon, or are you going to give it a break?
Do you want to start or?
I'll start. Yeah, I mean, it's for me. I already had my fun with it. I already had my crack addiction, and I already quit it cold turkey. It's like, bro, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna do this final mission because it just got
Uh huh.
updated. Um, but I'm doing it because I feel like I need that closure to the game. Be like, okay, well, I did what I had to do, and but it's a game that I could easily pick up and play again, but at the same time, it doesn't captivate me enough. It's like as soon as I'm in it, I can play it for ages and ages, but as soon as I let it go for one day, then the next day or the following days, I'm like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. So for me, it's pretty much shelved at this point. I mean, I will go back to it, but never really play it that much anymore. For me, it's one of those games you buy over a period of a 1 week, 2 week vacation, and you play the shit out of it nonstop. It's that one thing that you're focusing on, and then,
And then get rid of it.
yeah.
Hmm.
Fair.
I have a different reaction to it because although I have the same feeling right now after I completed the last boss just a few hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not a game that I am going back to it on a regular basis, but I know that this game is gonna join other games in my library that I will come back to it in X amount of time just to scratch that itch of
Right.
experience power fantasy that other games, for example, don't have. Like I'm gonna give like a specific example. Like I have this other game like that is more about mechas. It's called Demon Ex Machina. It's similar to the Armor Core franchise. I don't know if you're familiar with that Armor Core
I'm not
franchise.
familiar with
I
Armor
know,
Core,
I know the
yes, but
name,
Demon X
but
Machina, no.
Yeah,
I've
Demon
never
Ex Machina
played. Did
came
I
out
play it?
for Nintendo Switch and PC, and
Mm-hmm.
I completed that game 3 years ago. But every year I return to the game like maybe 3 or 4 times just to scratch that itch. Yeah, I want to play a mecha game right now because maybe I watched a mecha anime or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I want to play a couple of hours of mecha action. And this game is gonna join the same shelf. Like now that I've killed the last boss, I'm not gonna be regularly back on the game because I'm on the hunter rank 50. But the next objective is reaching hunter rank 100 to unlock the next monster. So I'm not gonna do that. It's too much.
Yeah, I
But
think that's a little too much to ask as well.
it's definitely going to join the shelf whenever I want to feel like a ninja that hunts mythical creatures from this prehistoric Bronze Age type of vibe environment, I'm gonna scratch that itch and just go back to it.
Okay.
Okay,
I get that.
good enough. That's it for me, guys. That's all I wanted to ask you.
You got no more questions about
And
Monster
I
Hunter?
have no more question. I have no more questions about Monster Hunter. I just wanted to get a full, in-depth analysis of both of your experiences playing it because I don't have a Switch. So, and even if I had one, I don't think I'd be buying that game. Maybe I would to play with you guys, but not
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah, that's the thing. This game is much more enjoyable with friends than by yourself. Like it's
Absolutely.
always like a very different experience. I found it because the three first
100%.
weeks where I played it by myself, and then the next week when I played it with Jack, it was a very different experience. Like the type of enjoyment was very different.
Yeah.
As long as you get past the first contact, right?
Sure.
But yeah, I will agree with the argument that it's not. Uh, Monster Hunter still has the problem that it's not like a very mainstream built or designed game.
It's not for
Still has
everyone.
its
It's for a
issues. It's
specific
not for
audience
everyone.
still.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Monster Hunter Rise. It's available on Switch. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
Wait until it drops in price to buy it, guys. That's all I have to say.
Wait, what?
Until it drops in price to buy it.
Until it drops in price. Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on what type of announcements Capcom is gonna come up with the next few days, I feel like this year they're on experimental phase. Like a couple of years ago with Monster Hunter World, it was their return to form. Like finally they joined the big leagues. But this year you have these two experimental games of Monster Hunter that are coming on Switch.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter
Stories.
which
Yeah.
is a JRPG um, uh, set in the Monster Hunter universe.
Yeah.
And it seems there seems to be some crossover mechanics. Like if you buy Monster Hunter Rise first and then Monster Stories, you get
Your stuff
special
carries on.
stuff. Not carries on, but you get special
Special
equipment,
things.
special things, whatever gimmicks,
You
and
get
vice
that too
versa.
with
The same thing.
Doom. With when you
Yeah.
complete stuff on Doom 1, 2, 3 and stuff when you play those games,
Okay.
you get gear on Doom Eternal.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
special
So yeah,
skins and
it's
stuff. It's actually
very
pretty
much
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
So I guess
Ah,
this is the year
that's
where
good.
Capcom is experimenting to see how far they can stretch this franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Small
really.
side note, in that sense, Capcom really does. I love that they take risks and do new things with their franchises.
Lately, these past
Monster
few years,
Hunter,
yeah,
Resident
because
Evil. Yeah,
before
it's really cool.
they
Yeah.
were as bad as there was a moment that they were as bad as Konami, but Konami became worse and Capcom did a turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true that, but I mean, Capcom was, to some degree, for me, they never really flopped. I mean, they had very silent
They had
years within the
dormant
industry.
years,
Yeah, very
dormant
silent.
phase, but
But they've always been there. I mean, they're releasing Resident Evils
true.
constantly as well. If you look at it as their main breadwinner
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, especially now with
Yeah.
Village, I mean, it's been very well received. I've seen a couple of playthroughs of it. It looks really nice. It seems like it plays really well. And yeah, like you said, are taking risks with shit, and I appreciate that. I think it's really good, man. I'm not 100% behind the Monster Hunter stories, but only
Oh,
time
I'm
will tell.
so super behind that.
I'm not. I'm really
It's
not.
How
cool
to
that it's
Train
there
Your
for people who
Dragon
want it.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
It's Monster Hunter, How to Train Your Dragon JRPG anime. What else can you ask for? Like, it's perfect.
I think that should be an add-on with a Happy Meal or something like that. You know, like you get
You
a skin.
guys.
You know.
You guys.
Okay.
Oh man.
It's okay. I'm gonna pray for your souls.
Okay. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers, bro. Oh
Pray
man.
away.
pray away. But yeah. So,
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. We'll do
Always.
another one of this very, very soon. We're just waiting for me and Jack to clock some more hours on a special game that we have discussed before. And I
Yeah.
think in the next few days you can
Legacy!
expect another thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna talk about it. Guys, bisous, Lolo. Bisous, Jack. Bisous, audience.
Bisous, my
We love you.
lovelies. And yeah.
Jack and Papu on YouTube, Dagon Calvin on Switch, the Jack Reinhardt on Twitch, and Papu91 on Twitch. Go!
All right. Catch
Bye-bye.
you later, fools. Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Why don't we begin?
We're sorry. 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 We're sorry.
Estoy presente ahora. Me amo. Estoy libre de mi ira. Estoy libre de mi tristeza. El amor es mi experiencia.
We're sorry. 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 We're sorry.
Estoy presente ahora. Me amo.